Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Call the Netherdeep. This is our How to Run Chapter 5 of Call the Netherdeep, where we're talking about Chapter 5, The Drowned City. I'm your Dungeon Master, Kelly. Tonight I'm going to be talking to my players, and we're going to be figuring out what we liked about the module during Chapter 5, what we did right, what we wish we had done better, and what advice we have to people who are coming in to run it. Anyway, I'm excited for this. This is going to be fun. Are you seeing him? And I'm gonna pass it along around the circle, starting with Robin. Hi, Robin. I've got you in a bar tonight.
Ah, yes, perfect.
Have a nice after work drink.
Up. Yeah, right. Cozy up with a pint of ale or a spirit. I could go for a nice
ghost.
Right. Hi, I'm Robin. I use she/her pronouns, as does my character, who I usually play on these Tuesday nights, Kaeko Skaar, our Goliath barbarian, but tonight it's just me. And yeah, I got feelings about this chapter.
That's fair. Let's pass to Christa.
Hello, everybody. I'm Christa, or Jahista FX. I use she, they, or her, them pronouns, and I normally play Sabina Moorden, our Lotus Den Halfling, Beastmaster Ranger, and Hexblade Warlock of Coralon, and her beast companion, Dax the Moorbounder.
Nice.
And yeah, I'm excited to talk about this thing. I'm also, you may notice, very excited that it is the holiday season. So if you're watching this 4 months down the road, I apologize for the out-of-season festivities, but I promise you, it is currently that time.
That's fair. All right, down to Chris.
Hello, I'm Dorlen Wildrock, and I play Chris. Other way around, sorry. It's Chris. I use he, him, or they pronouns, and I'm a little under the weather. Well, just tired and a little foggy, but not too bad. Happy to be here and talk about this game. I have some questions.
I have very few answers. Xarria, also known as Caitlan.
Hello. I'm Caitlan. I use she, her pronouns, and I usually play Xarria Rainn, the tiefling cleric of the group. And I'm excited to be here. Feeling very warm and cozy in my sweater. So
nice. I think we're all wearing sweaters of some kind tonight, except for Chris. Get it, start sweating. All right, finally,
mine does say that you should chill.
Should I?
All right, fine. I'll get my old man sweater. I'll be right back.
You'll get your old man sweater.
I was gonna say, I feel like I should have gotten in my festive Christmas sweaters, man.
Yeah, I have a nice penguin.
I just went for my Druid of Circle of Spores. Oh, that's amazing. I love that one.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
It's a horrible goose.
Yeah. All right, so Christine, hi.
Hello, I'm Christine. I use she, her pronouns, and I normally play Zenata Vosh, but you know what? It's not easy being green, so I skipped it today.
Yeah, it's really not. Okay. So, folks, Chapter 5, just to give you an example, Chris, you asked me a very important question when I was getting everybody primed up to start the call and hop onto stream today. Do you remember what that question was?
I kind of wasn't sure. I know we knew, but like it felt like I don't know where this chapter started and the last one ended. Where was that again?
So basically, the art kind of gives it away if you have the book. This is the last page of Chapter 4 is going down the hole. So Chapter 5 is entirely so Chapter 3
we went down the hole to go back up the hole to go back down the hole to go back up the hole, and now we're gonna go back down the hole.
Yeah.
So chapter
bow wow.
So chapter 5 is just Stairmaster 5000.
Correct. Yes.
Basically. So chapter 4 is, hey, this is Ank'Harel. This is the Gazetter for Ank'Harel. Here are 3 different quest lines for Ank'Harel. Then chapter 5 is, hey, this is Kael Morrow. This is Kael Morrow. Hey, look at all the things in Kael Morrow. And then chapter 6 is the Netherdeep itself. Which we are headed into next game. I think presently I'm thinking that, by the way, our how-to for chapter 6 and 7 will come together, because chapter 7 is an entire chapter of boss fight. Like, This is a video
Oh,
game,
damn.
folks. Prepare yourselves.
Oh, damn.
There's
What
like
is it,
blinking enemies and
multiple
stuff.
forms? Like, this isn't even his final form level?
I'm not going to say anything about that,
Okay,
but
fair,
wouldn't that be
fair.
fun?
If this chapter is any indication, this is a fucking video game.
Oh yeah.
Shit.
Oh yeah. Totally.
So, we should expect at least 3, maybe 4.
No, there's never a
And a
fourth one.
fifth
There's
secret
there's almost
form?
never. A fourth.
There's
So
usually.
there's usually
I mean,
three.
Rhyme Bitch had 3 forms.
Wait,
Yeah,
so there's an after game where you fight the real boss.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's just you join Bodhi and fight
That's when you
capitalism.
I was gonna say that's when we fight Matt Mercer. They give Matt
You just
Mercer
fight Matt
stats at the
Mercer.
end.
You just meet Matt
Wow.
Mercer in a parking lot and get thrown
Right.
around. And then
Beat him up.
he's got, unfortunately, he has Travis as a summon, and
No,
Oh,
Oh.
shit.
and Marisha will
Hey,
bite your
hey,
No,
elbows.
no, no.
this
You know
part
what's
we
worse?
fight people. We make friends with them. All right.
Okay.
Mhm.
I think what's worse is him having Laura Bailey as a summon.
Yeah, Laura would just like jump on
Feisty.
your.
Isn't it Laura fucking Bailey?
Yeah.
Laura fucking Bailey. God damn it.
I just saw
Take
a
on
clip of her
Taliesin.
doing.
Could take on Sam Riegel. But I can't
I
fight
saw
Laura
a clip of her
Bailey.
doing something as Jester in the game. I have no idea where it's from, but just absolutely destroying this big bad by like what was it, Dust of Deliciousness or
Oh,
something?
the muffin. The muffin.
Oh,
or
It was
something.
amazing. I
Yeah.
watched that clip and I was like, "Holy
That's
shit,
like
that's
I,
clever!"
I actually don't know much about it, but I've seen that one several times. It's just like,
Yes,
oh shit. Where when the DM gives you something random at the beginning of the game and completely forgets about it and you pull it back out later.
Yeah, those are
Yeah,
some
I
of the
just love
better.
Matt's reaction of,
What does
"Yeah,
that do
I
again?
failed."
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So-
What does that do?
So this chapter basically covers everything in the Drowned City. So if you're running the module or playing along, by the way, there are going to be spoilers, obviously. The module starts with you entering Kael Morro, and the entire thing kind of sets it up as this, like, it gives you the rival developments, explains like what's happening with the rivals in the between chapters, and then has more or less it's a dungeon overview than anything. Like each area is labeled off. You can see pretty well, like, you know, with all of its own little plot details. You know, this is flooded, this isn't flooded. It's pretty easy to navigate. Anybody who's used to running a module even remotely will have an easy time with this chapter. The problem is that at least 50% of this chapter is not in this chapter. And as a dungeon master, I got to tell y'all, look at the number of tabs I have on my book, because I am having to constantly jump back. If I want to start out, let's see, how does it go? So all of the adventures for the 3 paths that you can join directly reference events and things that you have to do in the Netherdeep, or probably in Kael Morro. So in doing so, you have to jump back and forth constantly as a DM, or create like a separate document with all of the notes combined to be able to be like, okay, shit, I'm down here they're trying to meet inside Akuere, but the actual information on where she's located, her art, what she's all about is located in the next chapter, but and so on and so forth. And when you're dealing with the rivals, it gets even more complicated because their stats are at the end of the book and all of their initial write-ups are at the beginning of the book, and it's all of their character details are at the beginning of the book, and it's a lot of plates. It is a lot of plates, folks. And if you're coming into this as a new dungeon master, I really strongly suggest you take solid notes before each session, and that you try to create like a spider web of events and things like that.
They don't put page numbers, do they, at all?
No, they
Or,
say
like-
sometimes they'll say see previous chapter, which, you know, thanks for the help.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Darn, because I was gonna say, like, if you're trying to like save on like paper and space and how big the book needs to be, like, just put inside Akuere can be found page whatever.
You know, I'm gonna
Like,
double check. So inside Akuere,
And if you are
see-
a PDF user,
Mm.
hyperlinks.
Mhm.
So if you look right there, there is her write-up. Inside Akuere, the Tiefling Professor is a scholarly mastermind, stat block, see Appendix A. That's it. And that doesn't even talk about why you're supposed to be meeting with her. So I do like that it gives you the basic write-up, the stat block, and then says, it's this stat block with these changes. She speaks these languages instead, and she has a resistance to fire and 60-foot dark vision. So they give you some like racial changes or species changes, depending on where in the timeline we are. That's good. That gives us that type of flexibility. But I gotta ask, for players, just let's jump right in. How did this feel?
Like chapter 4?
It
Yeah.
felt like a lot of side quests.
Yeah.
Sorry, Caitlan, go ahead.
I did feel like there's a lot of back and forth. I did really enjoy the role playing, and like the things that came out from this, and that's always one of the interesting things to find out, the dungeon master's frustrations with some of this stuff, because I felt like I want to know what you changed about it, what was different from what's in the book.
Boy.
And what you did, because obviously I think our particular scenes going back through the memories was, I know that one was one, but
okay,
I want to know what you did, because I hear about the jarringness, but from like a player's perspective, especially with like the role playing, I didn't feel as much of that frustrations. So
it's because I started throwing everything out the window. So there were a lot of things that I changed, folks. And I strongly encourage you to rip me off if it works for you. Just take it. It's a free gift. First thing that I did was I made a ton more Ruidium weapons available to you right at the end. They don't tell you this, but if you go, what the module expects you to do, okay, this is how they expect it to be played. They expect you to go have like a big open world thing in Ank'Harel, and to go, oh, hey, look, Ank'Harel, this is really cool. It's Metropolitan. This is campaign 2 all over again. Ha ha ha. And like have some fun there and really like stretch your legs and have fun. But there's a ticking clock that was established in chapter 1. So you can't actually relax. They've built themselves a narrative disconnection. Okay, and I don't think they realized it before they published the module. Okay, so that you need to get to the Netherdeep. So you have a bunch of conflicting plots to get you there. You're also generally supposed to stick with like one of the 3 paths, where in this one, I like parts of each of them. So we jump back and forth between the paths in chapter 4. And like we went to the Drowned City, you did all that stuff. There are a lot of things inside of here that follow D&D soft locking. Is the term I'm going to come up with. It's module soft locking, and it's things like you went into the cathedral. Okay, we went into the cathedral in chapter 5 because Sabina turned out to have a connection to Corellon and became Corellon's warlock. You cannot enter the cathedral unless you have a cleric or true believer of Corellon with you. I made one with Christa's aid. Okay, the only other way to do it is you have to go to a not a sunken tavern. There's a submerged building on the other side of the town that has ghosts who are priests and paladins of Corellon, and you have to convince them to escort you in. Okay, but if you don't go there,
that? Sorry.
Exactly. But how do you know that? Because you're supposed to check everything. You're supposed to do the thorough cleanse of everything, right? But that's module writing. That's not the way players play. Players never do what you expect them to do. So you have to be able to be flexible on your feet. Because if you don't go into the Temple of the Archheart, you don't evolve the jewel into its 3rd form. So you can't go further. Also, next chapter, here's a minor spoiler for you all that I'm hand waving away for purposes of getting you copies of like Ruidium weapons. And what that is that if you are in the Netherdeep without a Ruidium weapon, you pretty much die. Like you pretty much die. It is almost required. And that's one of the reasons I was off, like before game, I did tell my players, we don't script things, but I was like, everybody get a piece of Ruidium. Just do it. Just lean into it. Just have fun with, get Ruidium out of character. Because the game will soft block you. And there's only, in the entire thing, I took a quick notice, there are 4 pieces of Ruidium that you can have. Pardon me, there are 3 pieces of Ruidium, if I'm not mistaken, that you can find. There is a a great axe, a shield, and a short sword hidden inside of Kael Mora. There is also the red ring of Ruidium that you can get if you go to that plot line. There is also the short sword of Ruidium you can get if you don't hand it back to the Allegiance of Allsight. Or Cobalt Soul, I think. I forget which one it was, but probably Cobalt Soul, if they
Cobalt
destroyed
Soul.
it.
Yeah.
So, if you have 5 players, for example, like we do, you have 3 items, and the gem does not protect you from the Ruidium problem. Or the Jewel of the Jewel of 3 Prayers does not protect you from this thing that happens. It allows you entry, theoretically, at level once it was at its 3rd level, if Xarria had gone up and went poke to the side of the bubble on the abyss, she could have gone straight to the Netherdeep. Once it was manifested, she probably would have exploded immediately. But hey, we all make choices.
I mean, she makes poor choices, so chances.
Yeah,
are
but that's
pretty
more of a
high.
Dorlen kind of move.
So
Kaeko
Yeah,
makes
so
her
it
own.
kind of feels like what they tried to do was provide differing paths so you could have multiple playthroughs and still do something different. But they also forced you to do everything
What would have happened if
because
we
otherwise
went,
half your players die.
what would have happened
Yeah.
if we went the Vermilion Dream? Like,
So
were there
the
more
Vermilion
options
Dream?
for Ruidium there?
Yes, generally, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. You also could have beaten up the rivals and taken it off of their corpses, I guess. Let's see. Other ways to get it. I think that you probably would have. I gotta admit, once you decided not to, I forgot a bunch of it. Ruidium Elephant.
Yeah.
I would say that you could. It would be much easier to hand wave, like, here, have some Ruidium. Go kick some ass.
'Cause,
Yeah.
So I also really dislike that in this chapter, the rivals. So I changed some of the things around. For one, I made it so Ruidium is an element that taints things it touches. It taints people. It taints weapons. It gets into weapons. So why the hell wouldn't it be in the Frostbrand longsword? And I didn't realize this until after I had introduced it, unfortunately.
Or the Sentinel shield that I picked up.
Yeah, the Sentinel shield, like any item that you find, should be infected with Ruidium. So that's why I was like, I told Robin, hey Robin, I'm swapping your sword out. Like, I'm making it Ruidium. The Ruidium effect's really good, to be fair. The 2d6 psychic damage is great.
Instead of 1d6 extra. I gotta do
Also,
2d6 extra?
Galeocadra. Why isn't Galeocadra's trident have Ruidium in it? Like, she's been handling tons of items.
Yeah, this is her thing.
So I just had it that she painted over it so it was hidden. So,
Yeah.
it was dumb, but people are dumb and people do dumb things. She covered it with nail polish, for God's sake. I don't know.
Yeah.
So what they expect you to do is actually have the rivals come and fight you several times as well. By the time the characters meet them again in Kael Mora, the rivals have changed dramatically. They now use their tier 3 stat blocks and have undergone the following changes of personality and character. The rivals have become affiliated with a faction of your choice, most likely the Consortium of the Vermilion Dream. Their reason for joining their faction coming into conflict with the characters depends on how they've interacted with them so far. And then they give you 3 flavors: friendly, indifferent, and hostile rivals. I do a mixed bag of that, depending on... I do more nuanced, of course, because there are more people in our game. A good time for the characters to encounter the rivals is when the characters try to leave Kael Mora with something valuable in their possession, such as the key to the Netherdeep, so a magic item, or the Jewel of 3 Prayers in its exalted state. If the characters get the better of the rivals in this chapter, you can use their defeat to change the pace of the exploration of the Netherdeep in the next chapter. The rivals can take a few days to lick their wounds and prepare for the next encounter, or be re-energized by their defeat and be prompted to get a head start. So that's what they encourage you there. Catching you on the way out of a dungeon like that seems like a very interesting thing at surface level. I can see a lot of dungeon masters being like, yes, and when they're weakened, I'll have these fresh rivals come and meet them. They will mop the floor with your characters if you do that. So only do that option if you think that your characters want to lose. if you think it is a more interesting game for them to take the jewel, if that's something they would do. And if you're not doing friendly rivals, the friendly rivals just are like, hey guys, we're down here too, let's work together. Indifferent is like, we don't really care, we're just competing, this is just business. We're just on different sides. And then hostile rivals will actually try to, not kill, but definitely harm. So
I feel like this module, I feel like they may have written it to be a long game.
I think so too. I think because we're doing like a little bit of a speed running version, but I feel like if you had time and a player, I think this module would be a lot better for that.
In a way, though, because I would say also with the role-playing aspect, which is kind of what we always kind of lean on, like Kelly said before, we do have a ticking clock. So while it would be great to explore everything in its entirety, I think we're coming from the place of why would our characters do that? We have this time, we need to do this. This is urgent.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an oddly thing.
Yeah.
Also, the Ruidium thing is kind of odd in my opinion, that you need it. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's so corrupting. Oh my goodness, so much power. It corrupts so much.
It makes sense in retrospect, but it is really frustrating until you get what it is. And even then, it could be a little better. So I 100% agree with you. It is real frustrating as a player.
I could see that as being something that would really frustrate a group depending on how people in it play their characters. Because if you're wanting to play somebody who's very moral or whatnot, if you're not really willing to allow that person to fall and fail, you're going to be adamant that you don't take Ruidium or something. And then to find out later that you basically got screwed over by the way you chose to play your character when it was a very legitimate choice is kind of shitty, that you had to be corrupted, essentially.
That's fair.
You were forced into that choice.
I kind of like it in some ways, but it's something that you need to inform your players of before you start the module. That corruption is a major theme. I really like Angel Rukai's talk in the chat. So they're saying that their players were losing badly to a death embrace. Death embrace is the evil jellyfish that you guys would have fought had you gone to get the Ruidium weapon in that place. It's a big evil jellyfish that will kick your ass. It's a boss. It's a mini boss.
Don't we still need one piece of Ruidium?
You can go there and fight it next game if you want, or you can go to the Kelp Forest where you have been told there's some stuff and get it for free, because I'm going to say the Aboleth spawn are not going to stick around.
Yeah.
Because they're cowards in my mind.
I like free.
Right? So you might have like some sorrow fish that you have to fight, but with all 5 of you powered up with that. Yes.
All 5 of us.
You were there alone.
Terrible death fishies.
So, but anyway, what Angel Rukai is saying is that the players were losing the death embrace. 3 of them were petrified. 4th was out for the session, so they were being like roboted by the DM. The rivals showed up and killed it, then dumped the PCs in the library, stole their jewel, and restored them and left. Like, basically, that is a good way to do it, actually. I gotta say, because this module is pretty brutal in places. The monsters of Kael Morhen and the Netherdeep, they are definitely Critical Role style enemies, where it's like, they don't fuck around. Like, they will hurt you if you're not smart. If you go into things blindly, like, Dorlen going up against a school of Sorrowfish, that's a bad time. Especially because they got initiative on him, I think, and like, it's because
Dorlen isn't wise.
That's true. But so looking at that, it is really interesting to see how that functions, and what you can use the rivals for, because you can have them show up as a Deus Ex Machina probably once, narratively. But here's a great thing you can do is that if you have them show up, give your players a chance to rescue them earlier or in the future. Like, let it be reciprocal, even if they're enemies. Like, if they showed up, kick your ass, and took the jewel, and they're in a pinch later, your characters might let them die and take the jewel, or they could team up briefly and then, have some role playing. Not to be smarmy. GM's Workshop says the Kale Morrow suffers a bit from Betrayer's Rise syndrome, really hard compared to the downbeat city exploration. And they have occasionally narrow solutions to some problems. Yeah, absolutely. The Elixian Aboleth is quite interesting as well. So the Aboleth that is or is not Elixian, which I can't necessarily... You guys know that's probably not Elixian, right?
I'm assuming that Sabina's thoughts were pretty close. That the Aboleth has been kind of absorbing his personality because
Aboleths
he's
are
way
psychic.
stronger than exactly.
So it's
He's just been
basically
kinda
like what if
taking it
11
on.
from Stranger Things lived on top of, you know...
I think
Exactly,
Kaeko needs it
yeah.
explained to her, but Robin knows.
Robin
Exactly.
knows. Cool. So yeah, so there are all of these places in the city where the Elixian Aboleth had encountered like these like little memories of Elixian. They got hammered into its head, and then it's like, yes, that's obviously my memory. I'm a handsome boy.
Yes, exactly.
I'm a handsome boy with all my tentacles.
Yeah,
Well,
which
and-
is it's interesting
No,
because you
go.
think that the Aboleth would know better since they have generational memory, but
Yeah.
He
you never
really
know.
liked being Alexian. He's like, yeah, I like this.
He's
personality.
dishy.
True.
He's like the Brad Pitt of this game. What were you gonna say, Krista?
I was gonna say I feel like GM's Workshop put above as well that the Sunken Tavern feels out of place, but like that yet again feels like a video game. It feels like a save point.
It's a pretty safe location, and
which doesn't
it's-
make any sense. Like, why is there a safe location in this area? Especially because like the safe location should be the lab and should be the area that is actually safe. And like, why do we have a whimsical underwater thing?
Yeah,
Lots
so
of
weird.
time.
Yeah,
think
it
what
feels
they-
like a waste of time.
you know why they have it there. This is my bet is that you are going to all of these areas, and I'm gonna speak bluntly because you're not idiots. You're players. You're obviously going to be suspicious of everything, and you guys have been making this joke since game 3 at the latest, maybe game 2. She is there so that when you ask, wait, you know Elixian? She can say, yeah, met him. Really nice guy. Kind of sad. So that if you're going to all of these things where he has bad memories and you're like, oh, he's the villain. And she's like, no, he's actually a decent guy. So you have a nuanced opinion of him going in.
Well, okay, however, let's remember this is the same module that expected the players to bluntly and openly talk about what they had at Betrayer's Rise. Like, hey, we have this magical mystical thing that we shouldn't have.
Vestige of Divergence. Da-da-da.
Let's talk about it with everybody. Like, it's very... It expects you to be like open when it wants you to be, and then expects you to be suspicious when it wants you to be.
That's why we have our Uncle Bard Destiny.
So
yes, exactly.
I will say that for those of you who are going to be
That
in
confused the fuck out of me initially. I was like, what the
Yeah.
fuck are you talking about? I haven't watched it. Come on.
Yes.
So when
That's
we
Like, Zenata was honestly just like, what?
Well, and
Okay,
and
are these guys
Robo
crazy?
Luchador has
awesome
like
name, by the way, as always.
very good, but like, so yeah, I feel that I generally feel bad for any critter who never played D&D and gets a group together to play this as a first game. It's not meant. It's every single one of these how-tos. We have said this is not meant for new players. It is going to turn people off of D&D. When 5e was such a perfect encapsulation of bringing in new players and really made it easy and easy access to entry, this is making it harder but is being sold to people that it shouldn't be sold to.
Well, do you think it's
And
a rite
that
of
kind of
passage?
frustrates me.
Do you think it's being
Well,
sold
but-
as a rite of passage?
Then fuck them. Like,
Yeah,
sorry, if you are
that's
trying,
backseat
if you
gatekeeping.
tell,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
if you
Or
are trying to
backdoor
tell
gatekeeping.
people you can't play D&D unless you beat Tomb of Annihilation, nobody wants that. Like,
Yeah, nobody wants real D&D.
no,
I'm gonna have like 50
no,
comments
exactly.
for that line, by the way. It's just,
Like,
I want real
yeah.
D&D. This is really there's no
Real
like-
D&D players roll max damage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
real D&D players.
God.
Yeah.
Such a good line.
Wait, so I'm a real D&D player?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Christine's
hang
the
out.
only real D&D
At
player
least
here.
once, yeah.
Oh God. So
I thought I was just a
exactly.
fake girl gamer.
you know what? I'm gonna ask a question
Okay.
of you, fake gamer girl, fake girl gamer.
Oh,
You got
Especially you,
dropped
Chris.
into chapter 4/5. How do you
Yeah.
feel about that as the new character? Because like in a lot of games, you're gonna pick up new people. Someone's gonna drop out. You're gonna be like, well, my cousin can play.
It was a fairly decent chapter to get dropped into because of the weird, like, the nature of all the little side quests. Because it gave an opportunity for the groups to mesh.
Mhm.
Because if I'd been dropped in right in the middle, say in Betrayer's Rise or something, it would make no sense for you guys to have picked me up and kept me working with you. Whereas in the city, even if we hadn't had a side character like Bodhi, you could have had whichever group they were going with say, oh, by the way, take this person with you.
Mhm.
They'll help you out. They're affiliated with us, but they're not part of us, but they're going to go with you, sort of thing. And that's how you could shoehorn it in. So I think this chapter is very good for replacing characters. But most of those side quests made no fucking sense to me. They were kind of boring overall.
Yeah.
They were not very interesting. Honestly, I think coming to this one after Wild Beyond the Witchlight made this one have an impossible standard to live up to.
Well, Beyond the Witchlight is an amazing module. I'd heard that there's it's so interesting to go through this because there's a lot of room for role play, and it's Call of the Netherdeep is set up to be a really good game. Like it really is. It's got potential in here. I think that it's structured badly. I think that it needs like I'm gonna keep saying this until we're done with the campaign. I think Ank'Harel should have been the first chapter. I still think that you should have started in a town, like kind of, in a quiet village, picking your path and then they send you to go check out some weird event at Bazzoxan. And yeah, you miss out the tournament, but you could have a similar festival in Ank'Harel. Right?
Oh,
Or be sent to Jigao to do something at the festival, and then you get to play in the festival, and that's kind of your last
Maybe we're looking
moment.
for the gem. Like maybe
Exactly.
something happens that points out that it's hidden there.
Maybe to have been hired by one of the three groups already.
That's
enticing. Yes.
You already have your group that you're maybe not part of yet, but you're affiliated with, and that's part of the testing where they send you off, and then you come back and they go, okay, well, go do these things for us.
And
it's a little more structured.
Well, because if you need to look at every story, and this is my Western writing degree in my head here, because I know not all stories follow this, but you need to look at it as a 3 or a 5 act structure. Okay, like the Campbellian Circle or Dan Harmon's 8 Steps, like whatever you want to pick, you need to have it so that you have normal life transitioning into strangeness. Oh God, strange. Oh God, desperately strange. Oh, returning with power, having survived the ordeal. And when you look at that means that knowledge of Elixian needs to be about on par with knowledge of, I don't know, the Death Star. Like it needs to be about that point in the story where you have enough narrative momentum where you're like, oh, there's weird stuff here. What's the big twist point? Oh, the twist is that there's some ancient hero trapped in hell that we have to rescue. Because it's tied to stuff. And I still think that is the best way to get momentum and to keep that type of narrative flow. Like Caitlan was saying, you got a clock. You want to stop the clock from ringing. But it's just structurally inconsistent. And I guess it's very easy for us to say that now. But I think who was up first?
Robin.
Okay.
Yeah, and like it's such a structure thing, and GM Workshop in the chat said it's very discordant between like Ank'Harel, Jigao, and then how bad the like how wreck you get in the dungeons. Like thankfully we were able to go up and down out of Kael Morrow, because if we had to like one shot that one, it wouldn't have happened. You had to rest to get stuff back. And then if you did the rivals at the end, it would have been just terrible, but
Mhm.
it's very like, yeah, discordant, and there's this clock, and it's just kind of like, I think this module wants to be too many things at once.
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna intro here. I think that was why a lot of us were frustrated with Betrayer's Rise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of us were pissed. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like we were all so frustrated.
Yeah, we were not in a good
Because you
time
weren't
with
expecting it. It's
Betrayer's
like, oh,
Rise.
we're on this thing, and then we're gonna go visit this, and then we're gonna meet a cool Fearbulk, and then we're going to die.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's quite a twist. I feel like I foreshadowed it, but maybe not that much. I also got a comment on YouTube recently that said, "Oh, it's totally designed so that you can take it as a day trip and camp inside." And I'm like, would you? I wouldn't. I wouldn't camp
Again,
inside of
video
a
game
Hellmouth.
logic.
Well,
What's
you
that?
can't sleep when monsters are nearby. Though.
You can't sleep when there are monsters nearby. I can't sleep,
But
Jerry.
unless you
There's
have- unless
monsters
you have a-
nearby.
Unless you have a fire pit.
Or you're in soup mode. Either way, you can be.
Yeah, exactly.
Monsters are here, Jerry. I'm going into soup mode.
Yeah.
All right, Caitlin, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, yeah, definitely touching on that point as well. The just the discordance between the two kind of modes you get set in. Again, from a
Mhm.
role playing perspective, you have like all this tragedy, this awful place where bad things happen, and then you're thrust into this party city, which is beautiful. I would have loved to have we did get into it after a little while, but like
Mhm.
you're thrust into it's like role play emotional whiplash. Because
Yeah.
you go from just having the worst time of your life to like, ooh, look at this. It's all fancy, colorful. There's markets and food and stalls, and everybody wants to be our friend, and la da la da la. Except those that don't, obviously. But,
Mm.
and then
Mountainous
you go
huskies
back into it, and it's
excluded.
awful. And it's very much. I don't know if like a better transition or something, but I don't know. I felt very whiplashy, and I was like, how am I supposed to feel about this?
You don't. You just kind of you take a couple of episodes to kind of process trauma almost, which is what we did actually. There were a few episodes where like half the characters were shut down. So Random Equinox asked on that note, might be too soon to say, but which module has the worst structure that we've ran on the channel? Call of the Netherdeep. Over Rime of the Frostmaiden or Call of the Netherdeep is structured the worst. It is not. I'm not saying it's a bad module.
Rime was just the last one. Rime was just the last
Rime
chapter that
is
was completely
structured
different.
amazingly. It is one of the most fun, best modules
clearly
until you get to
funnels
the
you.
last chapter.
Mhm,
Yeah. It clearly funnels you to a goal, and everything leads up until that goal. Like you have quite a bit of selection right in the first couple chapters, and you just go like this, and then that last chapter sucks. It's frustrating as fuck.
Well,
But up until that point, it was pretty damn good overall.
And it
Right.
did a good job of building like what this game should have done. This game, they built towards the Frostmaiden and trying to find things to help defeat her and like have these side quests, but the 10 Towns was built way better at doing side quests than this was, because it felt like you were going somewhere, not just like back and forth, back and forth.
None
back.
So-
of the side quests don't feel at all related. They feel like they're
Mhm.
gaining you, like, sure, they're gaining you entry into the whatever you want to join, but like I feel like that's why we all had, at least I felt like, why I was having such a hard time picking who we wanted to go with. I was really struggling because I was like, there's no bonus to any of them. Like I feel like
Yeah, even
one
the
of
final
these
bonus
should
was
have
pretty weak.
it was very much like, okay, but none of this is helping us help Elixion.
Yeah.
So why are we doing any of it?
And each one of the steps has about a 3 to 7 day cooldown before the next one,
Yeah.
which is why I started having you do multiple ones at once, because I'm like, oh, well, that's, even then, you guys have only been in the city for, I lost count, to be honest, 100%. One of my weak things as a dungeon master is dates. So I lost track of that. I think you guys have been in the city about like probably 4 or 5 weeks. I think you've been
Yeah.
about a month. It feels like about a month if I shut my eyes. It's probably less.
Well, and again, GM Workshop pointed out that like that's great if you are a group of players that want to just role play days, but if
And
you're like
downtime.
7 days later,
So-
that's
7
like
days later and putting on a stream.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But like, at least like we filled the time.
Well, and we run differently than your home games. Like,
Yeah.
don't think that we don't understand that like our games are going to function differently because we're doing it as a story that you can listen to and enjoy. Which is why one of the things is the Angel Rukai in the chat mentioned the Kael Morrow encounters. I'd like everyone to do me a favor. If you have a dice nearby or an online dice generator or something like that, just roll 1d12 for me, please. Because every time you go to a part of Kael Morrow that does not have a ward on it, which I would remind you, look at Kael Morrow, you see the stuff that's in gray? That has a ward. Everything else does not. Okay? So, Chris, what'd you get?
I got 10, just like Robin.
10? Okay, yeah, you have a nice day.
Too.
Okay. Oh, actually, well,
I got 9.
Wow, you guys are not proving my point. Okay.
3.
So on a 7 through 12, nothing bad happens. So all of you just had a great day. Literally every time you go to those places,
Except for
though,
Caitlan.
Yeah.
Caitlan got something that I did include, which is a giant octopus wrestles with a locked chest. The chest contains 1,000 electrum pieces minted long ago in Kael Morrow.
Yes! Rocky! So good!
So I did have that show up. But it's like,
Yeah, Rainn.
you know, a swarm of sorrowfish, 3 scuttling serpent maws, which are the goblin fish that you guys fought earlier that almost killed you. Tentacles burst forth from the darkness as a death's embrace notices the characters. 2 slithering bloodfins, or did you fight slithering bloodfins? I can't remember.
I think
We did the 3 thing and the slithering blood funds.
I think we had the blood fins.
And then 6 is 2 aboleth spawn. Spot the characters and flee to alert the Elixian aboleth, which shows up after 1 minute. And then you have a boss fight. And I'm gonna tell you honestly, I did because I knew you were gonna face the rivals and that they were ahead of you in time and they were about to go into the Netherdeep. That was their plan anyway. They were told by the Vermilion Dream, "Hey, go kill that aboleth," and they're like, "All right, cool. It's protecting the rift, so we're gonna go kill it." They killed it before the first round was over. I had the math around here somewhere. It was gross. And it tried to possess them a bunch of times using its mind control powers and failed. And then it used all of its legendaries and failed. And Io punked it at a distance. Irvin did like 80 points of damage to it from my rolls. Maggie didn't even get a chance to hit.
Oof.
Like Maggie rolled last. Galsariad hits like a truck. Galsariad's powers are ridiculous.
He sure does.
Yeah, that fucking gravity rend. Jesus. I got super excited because I'm playing a Graviturgy wizard for our homebrew campaign, and I got super excited. I was like, that sounds awesome. When do I get that? And it's like, oh no, it's just an NPC ability. It's like, shit.
Oh,
So
great.
So every time that Irvin hits with his dagger, he does like his average damage is 24 for a dagger.
wow.
How many daggers does he
With a
get?
dagger?
He has, well, what they say is Irvin makes 1 dagger attack and 2 Ruidium short sword attacks. His Ruidium short sword is 1d6 plus 5 plus 2d6 psychic. That's nice.
Okay.
You know what I would do if I was smart?
That's
I would
nice.
just use the dagger, because the dagger is 1d4 plus 5 plus 5d6 poison.
Oh.
Why would you just not poke twice with the dagger, first of all? I don't know.
That's some
Like-
poison.
Immune to
That's a
poison.
poison.
Very few things in this module are immune to poison. A lot of them are immune to psychic. Actually, not very many. Never mind. I didn't say that. Most of them aren't, because that's dumb. But like,
You did not hear
Because
this.
I have a lot of spiced
No, I
psychic
didn't.
spells.
no, I actually was mistaken. But yeah, Galsariad's.
Okay.
I had someone in the comments
Like,
say
Kaeko's
that,
gonna
oh,
be
they really loved Galsariad's spell. Guys, that's not a spell. That's a recharge 5/6. He has a 1 in 3 chance of getting that every turn. This thing
Wow.
that is a 30-foot radius sphere on a point he can see within 100 feet requires a DC 16 strength save. Okay, that's not terribly high.
There's a feat called Mage Slayer, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
Just Just in
It's
case.
12d6 force and is restrained for 1 minute, which
Holy crap.
which means that okay. So here's the way this works, right? It's boom, you're restrained. I fail to recharge for 6 seconds. I fail to recharge. I fail to recharge. Let's say I fail to recharge 7 times in a row, maybe out of the 10 rounds I get before that minute's up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to recharge those last 3 times if probability falls as it should, which means that in 1 minute you're restrained because I'm doing this at range and I'm doing 36d6 points of damage to 48d6 points of damage to you, and you're still restrained.
And there's no way out of it?
Well, there's saves. On restrained, you
yeah.
can repeat the save at the end of each turn. But, like, oh man, he's a tank. He's a tank and a snappy dresser now.
Glass cannon?
See, I always
Please,
said Galsarian's my favorite.
I want that recharge.
He's got-
man, that looks
He has as
great.
many hit points as Dermot.
When you were describing
Wow.
him, like all I was thinking of was as I said, like I think I'm thinking Megamind and the Black Mamba.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
a supervillain? What's the difference between a villain and a supervillain?
Yeah,
President.
exactly.
Oh my God.
GM's workshop is right, and then while they're restrained, Irvin stabs you
Oh,
with advantage,
Yeah.
right?
Oh.
and it's like you're done. So like you guys, if you had gone up against the Elixian Aboleth and fought smart, you could have taken it like no time at all. No time at all. In fact, let me just see. I want to check its stats for you because I know you're curious.
And honestly, if we didn't we fought smart against the rivals because we fucking went and put whoever cast that sleep spell on Irvin to get him out of. Yeah, Caitlan.
that was Xarria.
Sleep spell.
Yeah.
That
And
was
almost didn't work,
I
but
was
it
like,
was
well,
so good.
That's one
It was-
person.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
like he's the keystone to take out because he's the max damage dealer out of
I
everybody.
didn't
who
realize
is
that at the
mage.
time. I was like, you're right beside me.
Yep.
Well, and
and the
you
reason-
didn't want to
wanna
hurt
hurt
him,
you.
so it was exactly.
Well,
it was
and the thing is,
perfect.
that's the other role playing thing. He didn't want to really hurt you guys because of you,
Mhm.
because he didn't want to stab your friends in front of you. If Xarria had not been there, it would have been a different fight. Like, and I
Okay,
mean that
gotcha.
literally. Like, if Xarria had not been there and Galsarian had not been there, like, take the two LV type people out. I know you're a tiefling, but you're elvish. You know, you got an elfy vibe. But take the two pointy-eared types out, and like, yeah, Irvin probably would have stabbed the shit out of you. He wouldn't have killed you, but like, he wouldn't have had to like impress a girl. Because my Irvin is really needy.
Urban, my brother
Oh.
from another mother.
He's supposed to be the party Chad, party Kyle in the original write-up, but he became a little needier through the game because, damn it, his backstory's tragic. No, the Elixian
This is
Aboleth.
what you do to Chads.
This is what you do. This is what I do to all Chads.
Unexpected.
Give them
Yes.
tragedy.
That's
Tragedy.
that's why Kyle is number one Strixhaven boy.
Wow.
No offense to the other Strixhaven boys, they're great, but they're not a Chad that makes you wish you could change him.
It's so true.
Oh my God.
Traz, are you in the chat there? You in the
Traz is in the chat.
Kraz is
And
always in the
so
chat.
yeah, the Elixian Aboleth, it has 135 HP.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. If you max hit point it, it's 195. So, and for things like that, I strongly encourage y'all to use max hit points for a lot of these, especially against a full party. Just do it. If you want to fight. If you don't want to fight, then just keep it as is. But so other stuff that happened in chapter 4, we had some questions that were put in our Discord. By the way, if you're not on the Discord, you should join the Discord. It's a good community.
Mhm.
It seems like chapter 4 was a continuation of chapters 3 and 4. Mostly 4. Yeah, chapter 6 is a continuation of this. So we're not completely through the trench coat. Now that you aren't constrained by desire, what kind of changes, recommendations would you make to streamline the chapters or reduce unnecessary back and forth? I don't know. What do you guys think? How would
feel
you?
I feel like you shouldn't go up and down. Like, why are we doing the Stairmaster?
I mean, for great calves, great buns.
Well, yes, but
Yes. Yes, I know. It did feel like they made a really big deal of the hole when we went down into it, and it kind of had that feeling of, oh, this is it. And then we just went back up and down again. So I feel like it took some narrative stakes out of the importance of Kael Morrow.
I'm gonna agree with that
Because it took us a while to find it, and it's like, okay, now you can just go up and down all the time.
Well, it was like, it was secretive, and it was, you're not supposed to know about Kael Morrow. But actually, it's just like a school's archaeology site. It's like going to Drumheller and being like, oh, there's a dig over there.
I guess they can never just keep us down.
That's tub thumping, not Kael Morrow. That could have been something. That could have been me making it a bit more secretive than need be. It could have been like, you know, the module kind of leaves it a bit open ended. I could have probably ran it a lot more like, oh yeah, that big hole over there. Yeah, that's some archaeological dig they're doing. You know, the old city from before during the not the cataclysm, the other thing, the calamity.
Well, you played it. Like, I think you played it fine for secretive, but it's just like, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but I felt like we had a ton of hoops to jump through to get access to this place. And then it just kind of felt like,
and what was the point of the life dome?
So the point of
that was cool.
It was cool, but what's the point? Because we were going there to look for a secret thing that we don't actually even get to look for.
Frame Prolix?
Yeah. So yeah, it was the whole thing about the life dome is that
tangent? Not tangent, but storyline.
Yeah, it's a thing. So
Justice for Prolix, whatever his name is.
Okay, so
Provolix.
Okay, so I'm flipping to it right now. In the life dome. Chasing down a rumor from the Legions of Allsight, the character is sent to investigate a possible second point of access into Kael Morrow. Their time is cut short when someone tries to kill them. Blah, 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 blah. Characters... After foiling the ambush, the characters take a moment before returning to the Crystal Chateau. After he hears the report, Prolix pays the characters and deeply apologizes for the events. Okay. So I'm trying to sum it up real quick. Where the hell is it? So Limley, that whole thing. Where is it? True motives. Unknown to Prolix, the rumors of a second entrance were planted by Limley Wist, a member of the Sentinels of Memory, who's infiltrated the Allegiance of Allsight by posing as a highly accredited professor of antiquities. Though Limley doesn't appear during this mission, her machinations drive the plot. Characters are walking into an ambush, an effort for the Sentinels to wipe out those who would bring Kael Morrow back into living memory. So, basically, they're trying to kill off... They're trying to Mummy's curse it.
Which is fair, but like, why is the point of going to potentially find a secret entrance when it's like there's a perfectly good entrance elsewhere?
Or they could just... They have... Like, she has invisible stalkers. She could literally just send them into Prolix's apartment or your apartment.
Yeah.
I thought that was because it could be dangerous if like demons or whatever come through, because you know there's a lot of like shit down there that we found, right? So if it comes through the water, that would be a bad thing.
So GM's workshop says something interesting, and it's that low-key the Cult of the Vermilion Dream kind of suck as antagonists. It's because they're shitty deuteragonists or tetragonists, right? They're supposed to be like they're the leather jacket option for like, hey, you guys, you want to go buy Twitter and wear leather jackets? Like they're the Elon Musk route, right? Because they're just like no, seriously, like that's I mean that as a joke, but also like they're the capitalist route. They're the route where you're like, we're not doing this for good, we're not doing this for balance, we're doing this for money and
power.
So like they're a military industrial complex kind of. We're not just doing this for money, we're doing this for a shit ton of money. We're going to buy all the bluebirds
for $1 million.
Yeah, they're so and GM's Workshop is right. Actually, the Sentinels of Memory are a better antagonist. It'd be great if they started doing terrorist activities and blowing up all three factions. And being like, y'all want into Kael Morrow, let's go.
Are they I guess he can't answer this question.
Sure, go ahead. I'll tell you if I can.
more to do with the Sentinels of Memory, like that we missed, because they once
Not
we
really.
found out about them, I was just kind of like, wow, that's really interesting. We've got this like cool group of people who like have this plot-driven reason for like trying to interrupt us and what we're doing, and the archaeology site, and it just felt like, hey, we're dangling this name and gone. But like I found, like you were saying there, like they seemed like personally they seemed really interesting. Like, oh, who are
So,
these new?
so Chris is saying that for your home game, guys, make the Sentinels of Memory the actual antagonists who are doing things. Honestly, they should be. They're literally trying to shut memory
seem
down.
cool.
And what is Elixion except for a memory of the past? Like they are narratively. Damn, I really hate this now. I really hate this now, 'cause,
I
like,
think this chapter in particular, really, at least for me, really highlighted. I don't know what the point of this game is.
it's
And like
that-
I've been struggling with it in character. Like I literally almost had, like, Kelly and I had to have a conversation because I was like, Sabina has no reason to be here. This character has no motivation aside from, well, her friends want to do it, so I guess she kind of should. Like I felt
didn't want to go to Cabo, but
zero.
everybody else wanted to go to Cabo, so now I'm in
Yeah.
Cabo.
Kinda like,
And we just did a bunch of coke and shot somebody.
We'd be lost without you. You're the heart and
But, like,
soul.
the irony of that is I literally like created Sabina to be like, she hates people. Like humanity in general, she thinks is useless and she's never been treated well by them. She met you guys and cares about you because you're her found family. It's like Dax, you guys, and the
Elixion-
rest of the animal kingdom. Elixion is some fucking dude. What, like, there? It's not.
He's
If
actually
he
a
goes.
Warbounder.
Okay, well then that's fine.
Okay,
we'll say
There
it.
we go. He's actually a Warbounder.
But,
He
like,
has a
He's
pet
Dax's
Warbounder
father.
down there.
I was stuck in this of like, okay, well, wait a minute, like, and this chapter really highlighted this of being like, well, hang on, is the world ending or are we just saving this guy? Because I was kind of under the impression that there was like world-saving consequences, and I was like, okay, well, if the world ends, the animals will all die, so I feel bad about that.
It's
But like, it's kind of feels like we're just helping this dude,
It's
and it's like, what's the point?
it's not world ending, it's world inconveniencing.
That's what.
So the animals will
and
be
I'm like, what's the
inconvenienced.
point of this?
They will only
Save the
get sometimes
apotheose.
They're
off.
Obviously.
inconvenienced by everything, but
Save the apotheon, walk the dog.
yes, and yes, random, exactly.
So yeah, so the point of the plot is go help Elixion.
Yeah, and like, why?
Again, something that would have possibly been made a little bit more sense if your characters and players are not as like we were at the beginning of the game. But if the game started in Kael Morrow and you had that history and everything working
Yeah.
for one of those, and
GM
Yes, thank you,
Workshop just said in the chat, Ruidium needs to be the thing. Like, people
Yeah.
want to get this Ruidium and it's going to be a bad thing. Okay, you need to stop the Netherdeep. People getting into the Netherdeep to
Yes.
get this
So
Ruidium.
it needs
'cause
to
it's
be
gonna
more
corrupt
powerful than it
the
is.
world.
Which they
Yeah.
kind of set up in
Use
that,
it
like,
as a
you know,
spell.
A little
Component?
bit.
oh my god,
the-
Dorlen needs to try that.
Yeah.
with the consortium being all like, we need to get all of the Ruidium, and it's like, why? It's not that great. It just, like, it corrupts you as much as it does bonus damage. So like, what the fuck is the point? At least that's how it
the other-
feels.
I wonder
It's-
if we could use Revivify with, instead of diamond dust, Ruidium dust.
Sure, I'll allow it.
Ooh,
Why not? Do it. Do it.
You come back as a corrupted. Oh, that'd be
Ooh.
good.
Is
Can
that
it automatically
something
come
in
back
this?
with corruption?
So Ruidium.
Oh, that's such a great idea.
Damn it, Snowy, no,
GM
there's not
Workshop.
races. Stop making things
I
races.
love that.
I'm triggered from Strixhaven. Not a race. Not a race, goddammit.
I'm double checking this because was that in the book?
What?
GM's Workshop? That feels familiar. I feel like I did read that and maybe forgot part of that.
Well, no, they said it's presented as a potential world ending. Yeah.
It's
And
but
then they
like
amped
the
up to
using as a
1,000.
spell component. I feel like it was able.
No.
No, it's
Page
not
11?
Ruidium. I'm thinking of page 11. Is it actually page 11 for what I'm thinking of?
Angel Rukai says page 11.
Oh, there we go. It's a little sidebar. Can be substituted for $500 or 500 gold worth of any material component.
Oh, there you go.
So there you go. So yeah, you can.
And there's just a whole crater of it down there that nobody's using.
There you go. So it's
Uh-huh.
kind of like oh, I forget what the name of it is from Rime of the Frost Maiden, because there's an evil mineral in that game too. It's the evil snow mineral. It's the metal ice. So I forget what it's at.
Oh, yeah.
It's the one
yeah.
that I would
The one
always
that-
argue with Hayden on how it's pronounced,
Yeah.
because I was like, it's Chardalian.
Chardalin?
Jardalian, yeah.
Yeah, it's I know it's Chardalin, but it's Chardalian because that sounds better.
Oh, gotcha.
It's like
I was stabbed with a Chardalin dagger. I was stabbed with a Chardalian dagger. That sounds better. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Stabbed with the
fair.
Charizard dagger?
Yeah, well, the Charizard dagger's obviously better, Chris, but that's not on the table. Put your Charizard
One day.
dagger on the table, then we'll talk. So yeah, ramp up Ruidium. You know what? I think that's what's going to happen. I'm going to steal that, and I'm going to be. Thanks for reminding me of that one tiny sidebar in the first book in the first chapter that I haven't opened enough. So what I'll just do is you guys will be like in the Netherdeep, people will be like, wow, look at this, and it'll be like, and like Gelsar will be like, yes, and you can use it to do this, and it'll be like, oh no, does that mean, you know? So it'll just be like, Kermit the Frog arms, okay?
Well, what you could have to impress like in
Wish.com or
characters,
something.
Galsaria does a spell with the thing, and the spell goes weird or something, and we're like, well, that's not great.
Hey, better than being dead.
I guess
I mean, he's not wrong.
I mean, I think we'd have something to say about that.
Well,
Arguable.
So what is it?
Arguable.
So that means that like Revivify is free though.
If you want to use her, oh god, I don't.
But if you need to, like Revivify is free, anything up to 500 gold,
Yeah.
bud.
That's
so-
amazing. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
So, wait, does that mean spell components? Does that now? I don't know if they were thinking about artificers here. Does that mean that you could use? Yeah, I'm gonna say that probably instead of paying for material components or paying for equipment, things for building things, Dorlen, you could use Ruidium components
Oh god.
to save 500
Tell him
gold.
that.
Yeah.
Well then,
so-
Dangerous.
really magic items for everyone.
Okay, so let's go to another question I have from Raven with Baubles. This sort of follows that question, but is less. Blah, blah, blah. How in the hell am I still sane? Okay, cool. I think I would have walked away from DMing that session with which session are we talking about? Are we talking about last session? Last session was a lot of fun. What are you guys talking about? I just had to like amp myself up for it, but besides that, it was great. So like,
I think they're talking about balancing everything. Like it's a great session, but it's like having to run this many people and keep this on top of things and keep all the characters on. Yeah.
yeah,
I
you
have
play the
ADD.
NPCs and the
Yeah.
bad guys.
I just give the voices in my head names.
Well, you did mention something. I think I wasn't sure if it was in the talk to the chat portion of the
Yep.
game or whatnot, or if it was just like when we weren't live. Of if you guys fight those bastards again, you're controlling the party members in
Yeah.
combat.
Oh
Which
no!
honestly, I
didn't say
forgot
you-
we
that's
had
a fantastic
discussed that
idea.
last time, and I would have totally been down for that last
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
It's well,
I forgot we
definitely
had
if
mentioned that.
if you guys have an Avenger style team up again, you're controlling a different character. Like
Yeah.
I'll do their voices,
Yeah,
but like
totally.
doing their numbers,
Mm-hmm.
I'll do random draw. I don't think there's a single character that isn't good, like mechanically.
No,
Um,
it gives us something to do, so then you're not just like doing like all combat, and it's just like
Yeah, if I had had an off night, that combat would have sucked to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
would've been really
I was in a really good place to run that night, so it's one of those things like when you're in a good place, you
Yeah.
know, it's like anything else. When you feel good, you can do more. However, Raven has a second question. Do you wish that the party and the rivals had interacted when they were at tier 2? Yes and no. They did interact a bit. I wish they had interacted a bit more. I think that would have been pretty cool, but I feel that narratively,
Yes.
you guys wish that?
No, sorry. I thought I knew where you were going there. I feel like the gap and not interacting much really made how much they changed stand out more.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we did have
Dramatic
like
link
the
is
little
good.
touches here or there, but like being like, oh my god, what happened to them? Like at
Yeah,
least
It
that's
gave
how I
a
felt
good
about it.
reason of like why like
We missed so much.
yeah, it gives you that kind of feeling of like, ooh, because otherwise we would have tried to stop them. We would have tried to reason out with friendliness to
Yeah.
try and get them to stop. And I think having this break was good because then it's just like,
Mm.
oh,
I think the brief encounter with Irvin was good.
Yeah,
And like
you-
maybe one other one, like maybe running into Dermot or running into like Xarria or something, being like something's off, but I can't spend enough time with you to find out what.
Mhm.
And then seeing it happen, I think that could have been fun, but I it didn't feel missed at all. I think we were getting enough hints about them and their goings on that it was still felt engaged with, or at least I felt engaged enough to know what was happening without feeling like I needed more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I'm glad that you all feel that way about that, because I do want to have the characters be more present. I know that had been a thing that you had said, that you were like still looking to interact with them, and that you were like, oh, we want to go check in on them and see. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really work for me. It doesn't really work for them too. They're kind of avoiding you.
Yeah,
I think it worked out.
because I think Dorlen was the biggest one that wanted to like go interact. And being sort of denied that worked. Like I don't know about you, Chris, but like I didn't feel as a character I didn't feel as a player I was being denied.
Oh,
But
no,
I felt it fit.
Yeah, no, I think it worked out very well, and I didn't feel
Yeah.
like anything was lacking or whatnot as going through it. I can be pretty easygoing that way, I think.
Mhm.
also it let us vibe with like Christine coming in more better. I think that
Yes.
helped. And I thought it was great when we met up with them finally fighting, and then there's like literally Christine and then Zenata, and then like Christine as a person going, wait, who's who? Is
Yeah.
like, that was a great moment. Like, wait, who am I fighting?
Just
Which
tell me who to
which one's
poke.
Dermot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like,
I-
which one's which? You guys are throwing names around, not descriptions. I don't know who you're talking about.
I
I thought it was
personally
great.
loved how much Christine and Zenata and Dermot got along and fought with each other, because like Dermot's like
Mm.
probably like, I mean, I love Maggie, but Dermot's probably my actual favorite, and like being like three-way buddy system.
Well, I was just like, until he actually shows he's going for a kill, I will abide by the whole like non-lethal, like we're not trying to kill each other. We're just having a
He's a good
competition
man.
here.
So
Dermot.
But the moment they actually take it too far, she will finish it at that point.
So I had a really fun thing show up, by the way, in YouTube comments that I wanted to tell you all about. So when we're talking about rivals, somebody asked if I could provide them with our stats, and I said, well, you can find character stats and details like during the mid-roll of every episode on YouTube, because they are about to run the game and they want to use you 5 as rivals for their game instead of the pre-rets.
Shit,
That's
I would love.
And
to
they're probably
hear
watching
about
this
that.
right now, so thank you. I forget the name of who said that.
Oh my god!
Wasn't
but-
it wasn't
I
it
would love to
Chad?
hear
Wasn't
about
it
that.
Chad
Oh, it
King?
was Chad King,
Oh,
the king of the
that's awesome.
Chads.
Yeah.
Oh,
So Chad,
Which
you
is
need to
entirely
keep us up to
appropriate.
date.
Yes, you are clearly that kind of Chad.
And let me know in the comments if your name is actually Chad King or if you are like the king of
The
the
king
Chads.
of the Chads.
Because like that
Yeah.
is, because
Yes,
that's I think
hope
that's
so.
like that's one of the most complimentary things I think that you guys could get as
Right?
well.
Taking your characters and
Wild.
putting them into your game. Like that's
Wow.
wild to think that someone's gonna be
Yeah,
like
join the
using
Discord, Chad,
Kaeko.
and like ping everybody, hit them up, and be like, "Hey, so what's their
Yeah, tell us
deal?"
what
And I'm sure
happened.
everybody would be happy to give you like a
Yeah.
2
Oh
or 3
yeah,
something.
happy
I'm
to
invested.
provide.
I'm here for it.
Well, that's
Yeah.
I mean that
Invested.
is so like that's top, like we joke because like we
Thank you.
add in characters from like NADPOD or from obviously from Critical Role for this one. Like I think that's a lot of fun, and like you know it because you know there's a commonality of like some people are gonna get it and some people might not, but it's a lot of fun. So like putting us in that is like the cool, like although it's
Right?
very funny if none of your players watch us, that might be kind of funny and be like, who the fuck are these people? These are not the people I thought they were.
Oh, Viola said that she may do that when she runs this next year.
Nice, thank you.
Thank you.
Good
That's
job, wizard.
amazing.
You should do it. Do
So
it.
cute.
Our Wizard of
Yes.
the Patreon right there.
It's
Thank
very
you so
sweet,
much.
guys.
It's very sweet. It's very complimentary, and that's rad. I think you're a
It's
very
weird.
diverse.
What were we saying?
party.
Minor celebrity is a wild thing.
Minor
Right,
celebrity
minor
is a
celebrity.
wild thing, guys. Like
Yup.
Oh my
I
gosh.
keep bumping into people or sending messages like, oh, like just having interaction like, oh yeah, you're the guy from Dork Tales. I'm like, yep,
Yep.
I am.
It was funny.
I-
Caitlin and I
Mr.
went to a
Dork Tales.
convention, and I was wearing a Dorktail shirt and walking by, and somebody thought I was Kelly. I was like, wait, like one of the vendors was like, wait, Mr. Dorktails, Mr. Dorktails. I was just like,
Oh crap! We never
I
mentioned
am
that guy
not on the
back.
production. I am not on the production team. I'll try and get one for you.
Yeah, I
But,
gotta email that
yeah.
guy. I've been stupid busy, but no, it's really funny. Well, and then like it's funny. It's real funny. TM here has the details for oh yeah. I need your character sheets as well for Dragonlance.
Yeah,
So get
I
those
need
in
to
the
make it.
yeah. Go
It'll
do
take
that
me
tonight after this because you got a couple of extra hours. So
It'll
what
take
else?
15.
Yeah, it does. You're building a character takes no time. So what else is going on, guys? Like what else about chapter 5 do you want to talk about?
What
I got
we-
derailed.
What
That's
we liked
still like,
about
ooh.
it?
What'd you like
Yeah.
about it?
Just
Our
like,
favorite parts
do you-
about
do you-
it?
do you want me to?
We
Yeah.
usually do
So
that.
you know what?
I
So-
liked the mechanics of the water. I did like the the wards were really cool.
the
that
world
they set
building was super
up.
cool there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Not expectedly, right? Like,
Mhm.
of course it was.
But that's the thing, right? Like it falls apart in gameplay, but the world building's really solid. Like I really like the
Mhm.
world. I think he's a good world. I can see it's a pastiche of a lot of things that are lovingly combined. You know, there's bits of Dragonlance, there's bits of I mean, honestly, a lot of Dragonlance, but like there's a lot of stuff in here, like a lot of it's got splashes of Terry Pratchett, it's got splashes of David Eddings, like it's a very great setting. For the players and the DM, who was your favorite NPC from Kael Morrow?
Insight.
Insight was great.
Insight
Is
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 it just
great.
because she's Dr. Doc Ock?
She's
Yeah,
Doc
kind
Ock,
of.
she's Girl Doc Ock from Spider-Verse.
I mean that's
In-
true, but I loved her interactions with Dorlen and thinking
my
seeing
God,
that
that was
kind of
so
like
good.
flirtiness there was really cute for like Dorlen's character too. I think
Yeah.
that was, like, really
I
cute.
personally did really enjoy that as well with her. She was
Yeah.
fantastic. I did like watching. I know, or at least I think that it was not a part of it, but I liked the naughty leaf thing.
Oh, the naughty-
Very good.
Oh,
Robo just saying which one wanted to fuck Dorlen. They're my
Yup.
favorite.
Hey, Questline, welcome to the
Welcome,
stream.
Raid. Perfect
So,
time.
Raid, you're coming in here. We are just talking about how to run Chapter 5 of Call of the Netherdeep, so hopefully it will not spoil you for this module. We're mostly talking about NPCs and stuff now, and like what we liked about the module, because we just tore it apart for
Yeah.
75 minutes. So it's a fun module. You should run it. Completely revise it. I should probably publish a document on the Dungeon Masters Guild about how to rewrite it. Make some spare coin.
I would like to say, I feel like,
Yeah.
Now I've only done, this is only my second module
Hmm.
that I've been in, that we've done how tos. I guess we've done one for Spelljammer as well.
Yep.
I feel like this is the only one that, like, the how tos are always like how to make it better. This is how to make it work. And
Oof.
that's frustrating to me because
You
the other
know-
ones have been like, what's our favorite thing about it? This is really cool. I like this NPC. This could be even cooler if you added this feature. And this one's, it's like, how do you function in this world and make it interesting?
Well, that's what's really funny is that Netherdeep has gotten, I've heard no feedback online about it, really.
Oh,
Like I've
okay.
heard, it was like, nobody's really said anything about it outside of like our channel. And people tore Spelljammer apart. Spelljammer,
Yeah.
Light of Xarixis is the easiest module I've ever ran in my life. Every part of it is fun. Every part of it is pretty good and requires very little tampering. It is the easiest freaking module, and it's just fluff. It's just a fluffy
whimsical.
pulp adventure. Like it makes Wild Beyond the Witchlight look complicated.
Yeah.
Like it makes Wild Beyond the Witchlight look like Call of the Netherdeep, right? And
Yeah.
that's so. If you're looking for a quick module, go run Light of Xerxes. It's real good. Whether or not you like what they did to Spelljammer, the module's still good.
Yeah, I feel because that's the thing. I haven't heard much about. I've heard people complaining about Spelljammer, the world, but I haven't heard a lot of people talking about Spelljammer,
Light of Xerxes
module. Yeah, Light of Xerxes.
Which we're back on Sunday, by the way. So come back. We're back this Sunday for Light of Xerxes.
I should put that in my calendar. Huh?
You should put that in your calendar. This is one of the reasons I announced it publicly.
Also, for the new raiders, come back tomorrow for episode 1 of our Dragonlance.
Episode 1 of
campaign.
Dragonlance. My book's still not here, by the way.
Oh, I
So
saw
thanks
it at
D&D Beyond.
Books.
Thanks Dungeons and Dragons, Hasbro, and all y'all. You can't ship a damn book. The D&D the Dragonlance Dungeon Master Facebook group is literally just posts of my book just shipped today.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So tomorrow night we are running the new 5th edition module, Shadow of the Dragon Queen, which it is 5th edition. It is Dragonlance kind of like revised. However, we're all it's most of the people here with Christa and Caitlan swapped out for 2 different players, of which everyone except for 2 of the players are slathering Dragonlance junkies from like high school. And Robin has gone through 2 books in the last day on audiobook alone, and Christine's
Holy crap.
skimmed it, so that's good.
I've read like 3 chapters.
That's okay. You're playing a bumpkin. You
I
don't
got
need
to
to know anything.
Goldmoon being introduced. Okay, I've run out of.
You ran out of
That's
time.
the trick. You gotta play like bumpkins or like characters
Brandon.
that like I just finished being in a Theros game and I don't know shit about Theros, but I was like, I'm gonna play a super low intelligence hitty character, and so it doesn't matter.
it
And that's kind of how I felt in this.
worked.
Like even in this, like Sabina isn't dumb, but she was raised in the moors. Like she doesn't know shit about shit. So I don't need to know shit about shit.
Yep.
With my
I'm looking for-
backstory, it was kind of like, okay, I had to keep like having notes to myself of if this
Yeah.
comes up, talk about this. If this comes out, hint this. Because I kind of have watched Critical Role, but they take so long to do so little in an episode. I don't have the energy to watch them.
Oh, you're talking about
They
Critical
have
Role?
too
We're not here to bash Critical Role. But
No,
what is
like,
it? What is
they're
it? If
really
you can
good at
watch
what they
One
do.
Piece in the same time it takes to watch Critical Role? Wait,
Oh,
Christy,
You can
you
watch
gave me
no. You
More.
can watch the entirety of One Piece, the entirety of The Simpsons twice through in the same time it takes to watch Critical Role up to this point.
That's a lot of time, folks.
Wait,
That's
what?
fucking insane.
Yeah.
Wait,
And
twice?
I have an
Yes,
office
it's
job
always.
in
Because
which
their episodes are
I
4 hours
can't
long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
listen to anything and pay attention to
Really?
working. It's
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
or the
fair
other.
enough.
Yeah.
So like for me, this character is actually kind of rough because I really don't know any Critical Role lore.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
period. I know a tiny bit, and I got about halfway through Xandria before giving up too, but it's too long. It's the
Look,
problem
well,
for
I
me.
mean,
It's just too much.
if anybody in the comments says anything, folks, like we're all in like what our age range is like late 20s to late 30s here. We work, we have lives. So
Well, and the point, like,
and we
if
stream
you
a
are
lot.
person, if you so there are a couple of things. If you are a person that has been watching Critical Role or listening to Critical Role from the beginning and you're just keeping up,
Yes, not a big
fucking
deal.
great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
If you are a person that doesn't need to be a completionist, which I am, I started listening to Critical Role from the very first episode, and the audio was so fucking bad. I was like, I can't listen to this. So I can't listen to the rest of it because I can't listen to the first episode.
The only way you could start at campaign 2 or campaign 3, like that's basically
No, I
'cause
can't do that.
You're a completionist.
I have a hard time even watching or rewatching anything that we do, to the point where I
Same.
like just can't do it, especially the sound of my own voice. But watching people play a game of D&D or something like that, I'm just like, but I want to do it.
Yes.
Like, and
Funnily enough,
it's so hard
I don't even
for
watch.
me to get into it.
I don't even watch the stuff I'm not in on Dork Tales. I don't have time.
Let's not talk about the stuff we don't watch and start talking about how they should watch all of it.
I'm trying.
But-
I'm trying.
Like,
I appreciate that you
between
try, Kaitlan.
my
I see you there.
full-time-
And I'm
Between my
and I'm
full-time
trying to watch
job
Critical Role, listen to Critical
And then my
Role.
part-time job doing Dork Tales.
Yeah.
Well, this is why, like, Dork Tales, the podcast that's coming out in January for our Patreon and, like, probably March for everybody else, is really good because the episodes are 1 hour long or less.
Yeah.
And that's easy to popcorn. We have our first season 13 episodes long, and it's bull. Did you guys listen to that? Did you listen to that 31-second clip I put up on our our
Of
Discord?
just us cry laughing.
Oh,
Of just
no.
like me
Did you listen
dying
to it,
in the
Caitlan?
background.
Oh my
Okay, no, hold on. Sorry, folks, this isn't going to be Critical Role. I need you who haven't watched it, go to the group chat, because it's in Facebook and in Discord. Just go listen. It's 31 seconds long. Or I can just play it for the stream. I'll just play
I
it for the
have
stream.
never seen
Go ahead and play it
Christine
for the
laugh
stream.
that hard.
Okay, I'm going to play it
just
by
played it.
holding...
When you're listening to this, if you're hearing
Wait, did she
kind of
Christa laugh?
sort of sound, that's me
Worst.
laughing.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
See,
just going
when
to...
I
snorted?
laugh really hard, I stop breathing.
Yeah.
And I start
She was
just gasping
crying.
and not making sound.
So this is our podcast. This is 31 random seconds. I'm just going to play it by holding my phone up to the mic. Ready?
Huh. Third corner.
Christine. After all this time. Unless the fish man was using it.
Oh no! Tastes fishy. Tastes fishy. That works on so many levels. Oh no! Can we go fight the fish man? Yep. Let's go fight the fish man. Christine, she's crying.
That's just a random 30 seconds of the show.
I'm pretty... Krista, was that me?
Did you hear that okay? Did that come across well?
Fight the fishman now.
I think I was the first one and you were the second one because I remember saying, "Can we go fight the fish man now?" And I
don't
think
even
you were
know
the second one.
It was so high pitched we couldn't tell which
we
one of us
can't
it
talk
was.
about what it is
Yeah,
because it's
fair.
still we're under our own NDAs and also, but it's
Yes.
just it's so dumb, guys. You got to watch that pod or listen to that podcast.
The
It's going to
last
be
set
available
of
to everybody on Patreon in
discussions.
January.
We're so good.
It's good, and we've started already. So the arc
Also,
arc 2.
I'm just gonna pipe in real quick here at
Hmm.
the end to give some love to the Critical Role because I listen to it at work because I can do it as my
You
job,
could,
and I
you
do
do.
love. I listen to it all in like less than a year. With my job. It's great. It's a great story, and I
Oh,
do
it
love
did not come
Critical
across
Role.
well.
So I'm
You
just
know,
gonna
the-
ship
the
that in
parts
there.
of it that I've caught like sound fantastic, and like the clips, and it seems like a really interesting thing. I just have trouble getting into it.
I
to
enjoy
anything like that.
Critical Role. I enjoy watching Critical Role the way I like watching baseball. The highlights are fucking amazing. They're great.
or the animated show. Watch the animated show.
Yeah, I haven't watched
Yeah.
Which I think
That said, the
was
anime show is
the-
amazing.
It's
And
what was
season
that
2's
game?
coming.
Oh, nice,
Season 2 is coming.
nice.
it. Yes. Oh, I need to
There
still
was,
watch the trailer for that.
For that clip that you just did, I think I heard Fishman, but I could not
Yes.
understand
Oh, okay.
anything else that was being
Hashtag
said.
I'm
over
sorry,
the
I'm
last
sorry.
video.
Just you fish.
No, it was
I
great.
was-
It was great.
just evil fishman things.
Hashtag just evil fishman things.
That should be a
I'll
chat command now.
I will splice in the actual audio direct in for the YouTube version of this.
Holy fuck. Yeah, it's so
It was so good. Christine like almost died during that episode.
Yes.
It was good.
I
And
have
then-
never seen Christine laugh that hard.
Like we've got major celebrities doing guest stars. We've got
exactly.
or at least their facsimiles. Oh, good. Questline D&D's West Coast too. Represent. Where on the West Coast are you? Let us know.
Oh, sick. Yeah.
We've got. I think that my Keanu Reeves impression is pretty on spot.
It
I
is.
Think I think
Your
that
Patrick
my,
Warburton's rad.
Patrick Warburton's pretty rad. My you know who applier is pretty. You guys are in Vancouver. What the hell, man? We're like
Wait,
we're
what?
in the same area as you.
Yeah.
Go to Fan Expo. We'll meet up.
Yeah, go to Fan Expo. We'll get drinks or something. or
We get a hold hand.
something.
Oh,
Have I already followed you? I
Reverse
feel like I
hand.
followed you already. I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna follow you.
Are we following them?
BC,
yeah.
Questline
beautiful
D&D.
British Columbia.
Oh
West
yeah,
Coast
you
is
guys did
best
have a
coast.
Christmas game today. That's special. You're about to play.
You were at
audio.
Fan Expo last year. Some
Come
of
Fan
you
Expo
were,
this year.
weren't you?
Whoa.
Yeah, come this year.
Oh yeah, I'm already following you guys.
Victor. Well, I'm in Maple Ridge.
Oh
Hi.
wait! Questline. You guys, you're the Questline. You're the guys that team up with Blackwater. They're the ones that have the studio,
Oh,
Oh,
sick.
nice.
Yes, we should
right? If I'm not
absolutely
mistaken,
meet
you guys
up.
are the ones with. That's right.
Nice.
We're not good at names.
Super
we
rad.
apologize.
Well,
Yeah, we're bad
I
at
am-
names.
I am angrily mad at your studio. I want your studio.
So jealous.
I want it.
Oh,
I'm
so
so
jelly,
jealous. I'm
so
so jealous
jelly.
because most of us live in Victoria, where the housing is even more expensive somehow,
Yeah.
right? And it's like we can't
Just this
afford that.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just this year, we're number one. We're number one.
Mm.
Iron Warrior,
Yeah,
we
Have they
knew she
officially
lived on the
become
West Coast too.
more expensive?
Yeah,
Just
Victoria is the most
Victoria.
expensive city in Canada right now.
Oh, wasn't
Wow,
it?
someone
second?
was asking me
I thought it
about
was
that.
second.
Was it second?
Yeah, I thought it was second,
Yeah.
and
West Coast
just
D&D.
it was
homies.
We're still
third,
West
and I
Coast
think-
DD homies.
yeah.
You can arrange a trip? Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Do it. I'll come over.
Tour.
Oh,
Oh, very
yes.
cool.
Whoa.
But no, it's fantastic. Good to meet you all. Do come back tomorrow night for Dragonlance.
coming.
We'll be in the 6th square, but not a studio, sadly. But give me a studio for Christmas, Wonka.
What
Yeah,
do you
Wonka,
mean? Why
do
don't you
Look
it.
at this beautiful apartment. This stairwell. Am I in a stairwell? Is that what
I'm in
Yeah,
my
you're in a
own
stairwell,
personal
You're in your
obviously.
bar.
I know. I have a nice apartment. Or do
You have a nice
have?
apartment.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
Very nice.
Krista. I need to put your
Yeah,
real life
Victorian
background behind you.
What do
Uh-oh.
I
There you
have?
go.
Where am I?
Uh-oh. What's
You're
the
in a
real
dun-
life
Nope.
background?
Is that
I'm
the-
in a
No, I'm
dungeon.
waiting on it.
Oh, I'm.
No.
Oh, I'm so delayed. I'm
Oh,
Mine-
Krista.
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
I'm super delayed. I don't see what this is changing to, so just see
it's-
now I'm just directing at the back in mine.
Okay.
I'm so laggy.
Oh my goodness.
Well, hey, if you
Why
want
is it
to
so
if you want to help us
laggy?
start saving up for an in-person studio, might I suggest doing so by going to patreon.com/darktales so that we can rebuild Krista's house.
Yes, please rebuild my home. I'm
Krista, can you do
destitute.
the? Can you do that arson little girl meme look? You know, where she's
I
going
yeah.
like shit in the background. Yeah.
Someone
I'm
catch that.
delayed. I'm delayed. I'm delayed.
Thank you so much. So good.
Okay, so answer questions in the chat. Will we be at Fan Expo as a group? Yeah, we're gonna at least
No,
attend. It's like right
not
after a
all of
bunch of our
us.
birthdays, so we'll.
Several
That's
of us
true.
are, but
That's true.
we're
You
not,
guys are going to be
it's going
celebrating
as
a different birthday
booth.
right around there.
Yeah, we.
I don't think we have a booth there, but
No,
I
they're
don't know.
they're pretty expensive, right? I imagine they're
Yeah.
probably pretty expensive for a
well,
booth.
I think
know,
I think
We're
they're
going as
Caitlan and I aren't going to be going because
Yeah.
we've got a baby coming along
You got the
right around that
baby.
time.
baby's first expo.
Although baby's first con, we could name him Connor.
There you go.
Conrad.
Conrad
Caitlan's
Conway.
Conway is good.
I just
Conway's witty.
vote for Con.
Con. Oh, that'd be
Yes,
beautiful.
yes, we should definitely. Yeah, I'll make sure Kelly messages you.
Please do.
No,
Please do.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys.
But Wonka and everyone else, if you do want to see more stuff, potentially studio stuff or anything like that, for real though, head to patreon.com/dorktales and support in the most direct way possible for as little as $1 a month. You can give $1 a month, but for as little as $5 a month, which is not even a full cup of coffee in Canada. Like a Starbucks is like $7 now. It's pretty ridiculous. You can help support this little channel of ours, and get some amazing perks, like at least 1 game a month bonus behind the scenes, but looking more and more like it's gonna be like 3 behind the scenes games. Was funny.
Just Traz clipped my face.
Nice.
Yes.
Thank you, Traz. You're doing
Yes,
you're doing the Lord's work.
Doing Lord's
Yes.
work.
Don't Starbucks shame me.
gonna say,
Fine. If you're
Travolta,
not going
where
to
did you-
Starbucks, Angel Rukai, you have plenty of money for Patreon. So go to patreon.com/dorktales.
Also, just
Ugh.
to say, Starbucks is highly caffeinated. I have found this out. So you are getting pretty good bang for your buck.
That's fair.
Just saying.
Oh, that's cool. So so you guys go to Emerald City and do a live play and a panel. That's what we do around the island. We do stuff like that. We haven't gone. We would have gone off island, but there was a thing that happened for about 3 years. I don't know what it's called. You spend all your money on D&D books. Well, you don't spend all your money on D&D books.
Well,
What do you eat?
I mean,
Do you just eat D&D books?
just
Yum.
that's why they have to
Depending on the
buying them
friend.
is because they
Mhm.
consume them.
Mhm.
I mean, we don't know if they're not like a bookworm in a trench coat.
Oh my god, are you
Fair.
5 bookworms in a trench coat?
What?
And then you buy even more.
I want to
D&D
be your
books.
friend, but you're not welcome to my house.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
stay away from my bookshelves.
Exactly.
Now people are discussing the recipes that could be made out of D&D books. All right, so
delicious.
focusing down on the end of this, back into this, is there anything else about Chapter 5 that I would suggest changing? Anything you don't like? This module has a lot of great potential, but you know what this module feels like to me? It feels like it feels like you just moved, or like you inherited a bunch of, like, I don't know how to say this. It feels like it has all of the components, right? Like you've got like all of the oh yeah, thank you, Bones Coffee. Absolutely.
Yeah.
By the way, use code DorkTales to save 20% on your Bones Coffee. Please do. Also, do you guys Cup of Tiefling? Like, you're one of our people, right? Yeah, you've been following for months and months now. For years now. This module has great bones. What it feels like is you have all of the ingredients to make like a really good soup, but they're all like thrown into like a Tupperware bin, and you have to like find everything and reorganize it to make it work. Where you're like, fuck, where's the saffron? The saffron's hidden under the garlic. Why is garlic in with the sugar? God damn it! Why is what? This is a piece of veal, but it's in Alka-Seltzer. Why is that? Like, that's what this module feels like. It's like all just jumbled up together, and you need to just kind of like take parts of this book and literally I just rip them out and repaste them.
I just random kind of idea. I'm not sure there would ever be time for this, but with this one in particular, like, and the comment Christa made about how like all the other ones have been like, hey, what did we like about this? What this? And this one just seems like so many things that would be interested to do differently. I would be really, really interested in like, sorry to throw this at you, Kelly, but to see you completely rewrite it and run it with a different crew from Dork Tales. Like, and see like how it could be changed, and see if the ideas that we're throwing around, see them in practice and in reality.
I could see that. I'd rather have other people run it for me and see how they got through it. I think that could be like really, really advantageous, because it's always fun watching people run modules that you've written. Like, I had the luxury of hearing about a bunch of stuff because I wrote some stuff for Onyx Path and Storyteller's Vault that actually got ran on the Onyx Path channel in collaboration with one of the other writers. And I got to hear about all the things that happened in that module. And they're like, oh yeah, they killed your second boss. And I'm like, ooh, good for them. That guy should have tanked him, right? And it feels kind of cool. Like, it's like you guys getting played by other characters. That is so rad. I don't know. It's such a good hobby. It's such a good place to be.
Where are the rivals now?
They're the rivals now, bitches. Did you see the rivals? They're rivaling at a college level.
Sabina would be the Xarria equivalent. I hate
Ooh,
people.
yeah, because Io kind of tracks over to Sabina. No, Sabina would be kind of the Io tracker, right? Because Kaeko, if you were just tracking, Kaeko and Irvin kind of fulfill similar roles. Xarria, Dorlen. I guess Dorlen's the Xarriad. Because you're the caster, right?
I was thinking more personality.
Or I guess Kaeko's the
personality-wise,
Maggie,
yeah.
the Maggie spot, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, Yeah, no, because she's got a bunch of buffs. Yeah, that makes sense. Zenata's probably up there as the
Irvin.
probably as the
Zenata-
Irvin.
I feel like if Zenata had been with us from the beginning, she would have been Io.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
could
maybe.
actually see Zenata being the leader.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
maybe from
easily.
the beginning.
Maybe not chosen to,
If
but
you
we
didn't
would.
take into account that Christina's playing her.
No,
Yeah.
you,
Well,
you,
avoid
you-
being the leader of
Experience from all
groups.
of us.
Exactly.
So I guess
Yeah,
that's
Sabina
chapter
kind of
5. If you have any problems, hit me up in the Discord. Join our Discord. It's free. We're nice people ish. But come spend time with us on our Discord. I think that's it from this how to run. Like, honestly, there's a bunch of problems with it. Go through, try to iron it out. Have more Ruidium on hand. Make items Ruidium. Make everything have Ruidium, and make Ruidium a bigger threat. And honestly, one of the things that you could do, and this is a closing suggestion, is say that Ruidium is only seeping out a little bit. But you just open the door.
That's like a consequence to our actions.
Right?
What?
How dare you?
What? Crazy.
So I think that that's a great idea that you should use. If you had to take one idea from me tonight, that would probably be it. And to have the NPCs actually interact with your party. Make Ruidium
that's fair.
scary. Yeah. Any other things that you guys would suggest, or should we call it there?
Yeah. I think just pre-read it and maybe try and think of how your party might react to stuff before adjusting. Don't feel bound to exactly what the book says.
Yeah.
Take it as a
exactly.
guideline.
Yeah, it's your game, right?
I would recommend not as much back and forth.
Good luck.
Up and down,
Good luck. I
up
was going to
and
complain
down,
of that
in and
before
out.
because, like, literally 3 of the adventure paths, 3 of the missions are go down to Kael'Morro, come back from Kael'Morro, go down to Kael'Morro, come back from Kael'Morro, and then, like, I'm not kidding. The Cobalt Soul, Allegiance Alliance, go down and talk to Insight. Cobalt Soul 5, Enemy of Our Enemies, go down and make friends with the Aboleth.
We should have joined the Vermilion Dream.
Level
Just
6,
like-
destroy the Aboleth. No, all of them. The last 3 have to do with Kael'Morro.
They've got a way to go in and out quickly. I feel like they do it more often.
That's true. They got the teleport circles.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Vermilion Dream's really the way to go. You should. So I guess that's my other suggestion is go evil, or at least go morally questionable, and profit.
Oh gosh.
Boy, the great
Money,
profit.
money.
Get all the laudanum, or the latinum.
Latinum.
Latinum. I know I said laudanum. What's laudanum?
1800s. Yeah, you're stuck in Mage.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking about Mage the Ascension, the Victorian Age. All right, so folks, that's going to be it for us tonight. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of How to Run Chapter 5 called The Netherdeep. We will be doing, I think, one more of these at the end of the campaign. That's going to be a combination of Chapter 6 and 7, because Chapter 7 is mostly just like one prolonged encounter at the end of a dungeon. It's kind of a weird divide where they just kind of wanted 7 chapters, so they kind of cut that off and put a hat on it. And it's kind of like that. It's like that extra seat that you guys get at the movie theaters where you put all your coats down. You're like, oh no, we're saving this for someone. But in reality, you just don't want to sit next to someone. Like that's Chapter 7. It's just a bunch of
seat of coats.
A bunch of boss monsters piled on a ton of tear under some goats. So, and with that, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow night with Dragonlance, Prelude to War, the first episode of our Dragonlance saga for Shadow of the Dragon Queen.
Dragonlance.
Dragon, rock the dragon. Dragonlance Bass.
Wow.
Dragonlance Bass?
Well, you haven't been in any of the chats. That's all we talk about is dragon. They're going to be dragons, they're going to be lances, and there's going to be Lance Bass.
You should have been in the game,
Yes.
Christa.
You should have been in the game.
Oh, it's
I'm
like what
sorry.
was that?
Yeah, no, you're
What
yeah.
was that perfume?
Which?
Something Lance Bass perfume.
Well, you gotta spray that on Chris before game. Thank you so much for tuning in.
No, Irvin's got it.
Oh,
Anyway.
fair. Big thank you to all of our fans and friends over at patreon.com/dorktales. If you sign up for that, you get a bunch of additional content, additional games, and get to help support this community that you hopefully love a lot, because we love it a lot. In particular, I have to thank my royal producer Schulten, the world builder. I have to thank my divine producers, DM Michael Gray, and my mom, because that's not awkward to say at the end of every episode, as well as my demonic producers, Precarious and Soul Omen, my wizard of the Patreon, Tammy, the forever cleric, as well as Taryn, the forever fangirl, Buddy, Amberthist, Cubby Gummy, Trazelta, and The Traveler. Thank you so much. And folks, we are only eight patrons away now from Robin having to run the first game of Radiant Citadel, because we're at 117 now out of 125. We are at the point where I actually have to have more goals. So hashtag goals, make more goals.
Hashtag just evil.
That's a good goal.
Hashtag just evil fisherman things. And you definitely want to join just for the podcast that's coming in January, or maybe slightly earlier if I get to work, because it's just the dumbest thing.
It is. Robin, I will say, if I can handle Strixhaven, you can handle Radiant Citadel.
Oh yeah, you also get Strixhaven in advance and Mage the Technocracy.
Yeah, if you're not sold on the mayhem that happens behind the paywall, go watch episode 1 and 2 of Strixhaven on YouTube and know that the podcast is wilder.
The podcast is so much wilder. The clip that they were talking about, I can't say because I think it would get me flagged on YouTube, but they're talking about what you think they're talking about.
Dork's gone wild.
Dork's gone wild.
So
wild. After dark.
But yeah, and one last thing, aside from the behind the scenes podcast on Patreon, everything on Patreon does eventually make it to public. So if you really are strapped for cash and don't feel like paying for content, it eventually will be free. I don't believe in paywalling like content, aside from like that one little podcast that's like a behind the scenes featurette that we do once a month.
Yeah.
However, your support is greatly appreciated. So, and it gives you like 3 months early content where you get to brag about it in a private chat, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, but you also get private chat access.
Private chat access. And you also feel...
we appreciate you sharing with your friends too. Like word of mouth is how we grow as a channel and get more patrons that can afford if you can. So share your friends, grab your family, sit down at Christmas time and watch Dork Tales.
Because what you might not necessarily know is that besides Kelly, everybody here is 100% a volunteer.
Yeah.
All funds stay with Kelly to help him put together art, to pay for his time, to pay for equipment, to pay for software, all this sort of stuff, which means he takes home very little at the end of the day for working basically a full-time job. So
it's only 60 hours a week.
All your
it all lives in the channel and makes the channel better. All of the stuff here is we get to do this cool shit because you guys allow us to, and that's fucking awesome.
That's true.
So cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. We love you very much, folks.
It's a cool life.
It's a cool life. Minor celebrity. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Most of the cast are Patreon members.
Thank you so much for the bits, Grave Mortem. That's very wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
And I can't wait to meet up with you guys in person over there.
Yeah, that'll be sick.
Oh yeah, we're absolutely all on green screens because we can't afford property. All right, so folks, that is going to be it. We will see you next time. Good night, everybody.